Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I need to talk a little bit about one of what used to be my favorite shows, Doctor Who. That's right, we're back to talking about this because it only got brought or dragged back into the pop culture conversation because Ncuti Gatwa actually appeared on the UK version of Saturday Night Live. And he, of course, said, hey, only about 12 people watched him, which he was right. And we're going to take a look at the ratings and everything else that was said. But you know what? This is a colossal failure for the BBC and a pattern that they are always doomed to continue. So, here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K. I'm also trying to get to 1,000 members. So if you can help on either front, that would help a lot. How can you help? Well, double check you're still subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been here for your first time or your 1,000th time, there's a decent chance that you've been unsubscribed for the channel. So please take a look at that. Then hit that thumbs up button, turn on the bell icon, and hit all notifications. And then you've done the most you can for the channel outside of having some comments at the end of the video. And you're going to want to stick around. This one's for real. So, Ncuti Gatwa is now joking about how few people watched his run on Disney's Doctor Who. The former 15th Doctor hosted Saturday Night Live UK and used his monologue to take a shot at his time in the TARDIS, saying millions watched him on Sex Education, but about 12 watched him on Doctor Who. There's a lot of reasons for that. Netflix has a lot of shows that borderline on the perverted side of things, but that's a different conversation entirely. It wasn't a terrible show. It just wasn't terribly well executed towards the end. And Ncuti Gatwa came across as a little bit more likable in that particular show. Now, he went on to joke about the ratings, which were no joke at all as far as I'm concerned. He brought up his career during the monologue, compared the response of, obviously, of Sex Education and Doctor Who, saying, I've had so many fantastic roles in my career. Millions of you watched me as Eric on Sex Education, and then about 12 of you watched me on Doctor Who. Maybe that's why I kept crying. Well, it's the reason why the audience kept crying. I don't think anybody was terribly interested. He then tried to soften the punchline. Joking aside, it was genuinely a magical role, Gatwa said. In fact, it was the first time my parents were truly proud of my career. I'm not sure why. I mean, this is a working actor. He does other stuff. He just got a role that was driven into a political cultural war in the UK, where they're having even bigger struggles than we are here in the US. And that was demonstrated in the United Kingdom protests just a few days ago. Now, Gatwa continued to joke with another joke about his casting, saying, when I told them I got the part, they said, finally, a doctor in the family. Even though I have since regenerated into Billy Piper, he said, I don't understand it either. I still love Doctor Who, and I got to meet so many crazy characters, sort of a bit like this place. Now, you have to remember, one of those characters was a weird piano-playing drag queen character that was really odd. But this comes after like what can only be described as a collapse. In fact, that's the subheadline here from Matt McGloin's article over on Cosmic Book News. And the joke is getting attention because Gatwa's Doctor Who era was a ratings disaster. And that's being kind. We're going to check into those ratings in just a moment. The worst ever, by the way, and I'm not even joking. Gatwa played the Doctor for 2 seasons as part of BBC's Disney Minus deal. After that run, Disney Minus exited the partnership, which was probably good for them not only culturally, but profit-wise, with reports confirming that the streamer would no longer co-produce the main series after 2 seasons, which means Starz now has the obligation of playing whatever it is they acquired, which was before Disney took over. So the BBC has said that Doctor Who will continue, with Russell T Davies writing the 2026 Christmas special, but we haven't heard anything beyond that. Now, the ratings problem followed Gatwa throughout the run. His Doctor Who failed to break through in the US on Disney Minus and did not make Nielsen streaming charts in the UK. This show also suffered historically low viewership compared to past eras. And again, there's Billy Piper. But fans are told not to watch. Well, yeah, don't do that. Don't tell fans not to watch, because trust me, we'll listen to you. We've been trained. Hollywood's been telling us that kind of stuff for a long time. If you don't like what we're doing, don't come and watch what we're doing. Okay, well done. Ask Marvel how that went, and ask Disney Minus how that went when it comes to Star Wars. Not very well. Not very well at all. Gatwa's joke also lands differently because of the comments that he made during the show's run. While promoting the Doctor in 2024, Gatwa addressed backlash to the show's direction and his casting by telling detractors not to watch. Don't watch, turn off the TV. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake. Yeah, that wasn't a good plan. Well, many fans took that advice, and Doctor Who went from a major British sci-fi institution to a show stuck in limbo after Disney Minus walked away. Yeah, and they did. That main series deal is dead. I don't think anybody else is going to want to pick up that production costs. And Gatwa is now joking about 12 people watching, but the audience decline was one of the biggest stories of his time as the Doctor. And for that, as a responsible person reporting this story to you, I'm going to go over to one of the most reliable websites when it comes to tracking the Doctor Who ratings, Doctor Who TV, which you can go find at drwhotv.co.uk and read any of these articles. In fact, I featured most of these articles when I was covering Doctor Who and being very disappointed at the same time. During his era, Ncuti Gatwa, from 2023 through 2025, the overnight average was pitiful. 2.34 million. Consolidated average was 3.80 million, with an catch-up increase, which means that people time shifted via the digital platform that they have, 1.46 million. Understand that before that, people would either tape it, use their DVR, TiVo it, whatever else was going on over there. And that allowed them to time shift without being tracked, which I'm going to tell you right now, really didn't look much better. But statistically, Ncuti Gatwa's tenure marks the lowest rated era of modern Doctor Who after a strong debut in the Christmas special in The Church on Ruby Road, which had 7.49 million. The rest of the run had a sharp drop-off, with overnights mostly between 1.5 and 2.6 million. Consolidated figures, increasing all that catch-up, was somewhere between 2.7 and 4.1. So across 18 episodes, Gatwa's era reached a total audience of approximately 68.4 million, almost all of those recurring people, and diminishing returns at that. While the show retained a reliable audience, it no longer commands the mainstream attention it once did, and the Gatwa years reflect not just as a shift in habits, but a reduction in reach. A show still followed, but far, far smaller stage. About the Disney Minus ratings, well, one additional complication was that, and the performance today in its international distribution since 2023, new episodes launched globally on Disney Minus, dramatically expanding the show's potential reach beyond the UK. However, Disney does not publish viewership data publicly, tend to share only selective highlights or achievements, which is not true because you could follow them through Nielsen if you really wanted to. So it's impossible to know how many people are watching internationally. The only hints come from the platform rankings. Doctor Who reportedly ranked in Disney's top 5 global shows, but not really, because Disney is the one that gets to pick what those are, whether or not they really were the top viewed shows or not, which is how The Acolyte climbed back in there recently, so that someplace like Screen Rant, with a former Mary Sue writer, was able to do what they did with a story trying to claim that Disney Star Wars was returning to a younger audience, which is complete garbage. Anyway, some third-party estimates have floated figures below 2 million global viewers per week, but these are unverified and should be treated cautiously. Well, I have to tell you, if I'm going to listen to Samba over a lot of other places, it's definitely going to be over the BBC. So, look, Doctor Who is no longer relevant. We can't pretend that it is, and we can't pretend that anybody's actually interested. I think this show jumped the shark a long time ago. I think the return of the former showrunner to finish it off was, well, in poor taste. I think Davies was malicious about it and was a sell the message at all costs kind of guy. What a huge disappointment after bringing the show back from ruin when he first re-arrived back during the Eccleston era in 2005, when the show on the overnight average was 7.72 million, with a consolidated average of 7.95 million in the UK alone, with a catch-up increase of 0.22 million. which, again, you can see how many people relied on something that wasn't the BBC digital platform. Regardless, those are the facts, those are the figures, and that's my conversation today. Do you have some conversation you'd like to have? If so, let's have it in the comments section below. Do you think that Doctor Who was always doomed on Disney Minus? Do you think that there was a chance that it could have been better with a different showrunner and different casting, and maybe a different path forward from one that pushed the messaging all the time, which certainly pushed fans away, both in the UK and in the United States and internationally? Let me know your thoughts and answers to those comments in the comment section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Just not watching any more Doctor Who ever.